You sweep back thick, green vines to find the old, International Riding Academy doors. You knock on the doors.
I've been awaiting your arrival. Your instructor said you would be coming. Welcome back. I could not believe it when the master told me a unicorn ate your library card. He said to borrow you his library card. Guard it well and keep it away from unicorns. The librarian is harvesting the garden, but I will go and tell her you are here. In the meantime, take a look at the new portraits in the Grand Hall.
When the butler disappeared into one of the many rooms that connected to the Grand Hall, you view the old portraits hanging on the wall and also admire some artifacts. At the end of the hall, you sit by a window overlooking the garden. Carefully, you reach into your shirt's deep pocket and pull out a small pony that fits in the palm of your hand. Knickers, we're back and it's time for some magic oats. But, this time I want to be prepared for what will happen and I will take a photo of you first. Then, the little pony nibbled on some of the magic oats he had been saving. Not too many, Knickers, you warn him. Remember what happened last time?
Oh, I think I can eat just a little more,
he said as he munched away. And then something magical happened. Knickers grew just a little more, not any taller, but just a little fuller. But, then his color faded away. And then, even something more awful happened. He started to disappear. Oh, no, Knickers. I told you not to eat too many.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
Does that feel better, Knickers?
It sure does. I shall like to be colored this way.
Knickers whinnied with excitement. Let's find the library. The two of you travel down the darkened hallway until you see a door that has "Enter at your own risk" scrawled on it. You push the squeaky door open to see the librarian staring at you.
Do you have a library card?
You hand over the borrowed card.
Well, this is obviously not your card. It is expired. You must be pretty special to have this card, so I will make you a new one. Until then, you can only browse this section.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but I want to let you know that your library card is ready.
The butler announced. Come on, Knickers. With our library card we will be able to enter the library now, you tell the small pony as he hops into your shirt pocket. Once past the library doors you see rows and rows of books. There was even a balcony for the upper-level books. Huge windows draped the ceiling, allowing in light, making it a little less dark and scary. In the middle of the room was an ornate bookcase encased in glass. It held even more artifacts from the master's journeys. So many books took your breath away. Not sure where to begin, you try to go up the staircase to get to the second floor, but it is locked by a small gate. The librarian tells you that in order to use the upper wings of the library, you need to use a computer to enter your secret access code and the gate will unlock. Instead you look around the main floor of the library. You and Knickers begin scanning book titles and thumbing through the pages of any interesting books. Lord Chancellor Spursnimore's journal must be here somewhere, you think out loud.
Maybe it's in that fancy bookcase?
Knickers whispers. The two of you stroll over to the enlightened bookcase. There were dozens of drawings, scrolls, figurines, books and even a model of a horse skeleton. On the very bottom shelf, tucked away in the deepest corner was a wooden box. It looked like it was hand-carved and had a burnished gold latch. As you undo the latch the lights flicker in the library. Pausing a moment until the lights stay on, you open the box. A few moths flutter out. Inside the box was an old book. You carefully take it out and blow the dust off. On the front, carved into the leather were the initials, LCS.
We found it,
Knickers said, delighted.
This must be Lord Chancellor Spursnimore's secret journal.
You look inside and read chapter 1. Outside the sky was growing dark.
Library's closing in 15
the librarian said. Knickers, we should try and make some notes.
Read the introduction, chapter 1 and 2 in the book titled, Horses, 2. Press the pause button, and then when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue. Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
Hold still, Knickers, while I see if I can name your parts, you tell the little pony as you start poke him. He giggled, no, no. I'm far too ticklish.
Use your horse and put a sticker on all of the parts you know. Be sure to take the stickers off when you are done.
You notice that it was quite chilly in the library. With a shiver, you expect that the temperature is dropping outside. Out of the blue, there was a loud explosion from somewhere close by outside. It shook the library shelves, rattling all of the books.
What is that?
The librarian yelled. The butler burst into the room.
There's been an explosion in the laboratory. That professor has done it again. He'll be the death of us all yet.
Knickers jumps into your shirt pocket and the two of you run outside. Smoke billowed from the broken windows of the laboratory. The air was chilly and it was starting to snow. The large green vines that completely covered the laboratory's roof were frozen with little icicles hanging from them. The professor scrambled like mad, adjusting levels, releasing throttles and checking gauges. The laboratory was full of clutter. There were books and papers scattered everywhere. Professor, are you okay? You holler out, covering your ears. He was so busy making adjustments that he didn't hear you. The machine was very interesting with all kinds of buttons, nozzles and instrument gauges. In one area of the machine there was a weird glowing light. It was red, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue. You reach out to hit the off switch, but suddenly the professor was beside you.
Don't touch anything.
The professor warned.
The winds are freezing and falling on my machine, and she could blow at any time.
The professor swung an axe as you backed away as fast as you could. He chopped and hacked and didn't even stop when parts of the machine went flying off. Eventually, the machine started to cool as the snow gathered on its gears.
That will do for now.
The professor started scrambling around the laboratory trying to gather his papers. You jump up immediately and start grabbing papers to take them into the back room, where there was no snow.
You haven't seen me before? Never mind, I need your help. I can't lose all my important papers, you need to organize the papers for me. Just don't go in the front room or touch anything else.
The professor warned and then hurried out to put the machine back together. You begin thumbing through the books and papers, stacking everything in neat little piles. Outside the temperature was dropping, but it was cozy and warm in the professor's office. Guessing he would be quite busy, you get comfortable in a chair next to a lamp and take a little time to read some of his notes.
Please, finish the rest of the unit before continuing on.
You jumped a little when the professor came into the office yelling.
That farrier has always taken my tools. I'm too angry to talk to him, and I cannot fix my machine without my tool. Go and tell him I want it back. The tool I want looks like this.
The professor's face turned red with anger and he was about to storm out. He pointed to a diagram on the wall, and then he stormed out of the office. Quest. You must keep an eye out for the professor's lost tool. You can find it somewhere in this book. The professor will need this tool to try and power the machine in the secret Unit 13. Clenching the journal in your hand, you walk outside into the brisk air. Buttoning up your coat, you make your way through the trees whose yellowed leaves were drifting to the ground. You make your way over to the little building with the word farrier written on it. The farrier was standing outside the little, old shed. He wore a leather apron that stored tools in his pockets. He was busy hammering shoes on a horse when you came up and introduced yourself.
Kind of glad to see you,
he said while pounding another nail.
There's not much time to talk and the sun is getting pretty hot. I got to find some shoes scattered around the shop. Be careful, you should know what you are doing before coming into my shop.
He went back to hammering the nails and the horse quietly stood beside him. You should do some studying before helping the farrier.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
Thanks for your help.
The farrier smiled and shook your hand.
If there is anything I can do for you, just let me know.
Thinking now was a good time to ask the farrier about the professor's tool, you ask him for it, but the reply wasn't quite what you were expecting.
I never took no tool,
he said angrily.
That professor, he's always blaming me for his forgetfulness. He leaves his tools all over the estate, and never remembers where he left anything.
It's okay, you tell him, trying to calm him down. I will check over there in the stables. The farrier grumbled and went back to work forging new shoes in the blazing hot fire.
You tell that professor, if I find his tools I will nail them up and make Knickers some new shoes.
Knickers whinnied happily from inside your pocket. Waving your hand you turn and head towards the stables. In the middle of the pathways around the estate was a large ring of sand. Not sure what it was for, you decide to crawl through the fence and investigate the sandy area. You kick up the sand. That was when you notice something odd laying in the sand. You reached down to pick up the strange glowing object. It was a colored crystal. A man called out to you from the tack room, so you quickly hide the crystal in your pocket.
Who are you? Never mind. If you are here to help, you best come inside. I need all of these saddles cleaned, oiled and polished. Then you have to wash all of the saddle pads. Can't have the horses chafing, you know,
said the older man with dark skin and a cowboy hat. I actually came to find a tool for the professor. Have you seen it?
Don't have time for the professor and his lost tools. All this cooler weather can do a lot of damage to the tack. Best to care for it. Help me out, then maybe I'll help you out,
he said, shoving a saddle in your arms.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
There, all finished. You say, exhausted. Noticing the logo on each article of tack, you decide to question the stable hand.
That, their symbol is from the land of Equestrian. The Queen, herself, granted Lord Chancellor use of that symbol. It became the Academy's logo back in 1898.
Where is Lord Chancellor now? You ask, hoping to hear the whole story. The stable hand shrugged his shoulders.
No one knows for sure, but I bet you he's having a great time learning all kinds of things about horses. He stops here from time to time to oversee how the Academy is doing. It's been a while since his last visit.
When do you think he'll be back?
Can't say for sure, but I can tell you that if you want to be the new apprentice, you had best be on your best behavior and learn all you can about the horses. The Lord Chancellor doesn't have time to spend on slackers.
He leaned forward.
Now what was it you wanted again? Oh yes, the professor's tool. I think I saw that in the feed shed. Be careful in there. There's a lot of feed in there and who knows what else.
You travel back to the feed shed. It had started to snow outside and was building up around the door. You had to struggle to open it. Glad to be inside, you slam the big door shut, blocking out the snow. Groping in the dark for a light switch, you finally flick on the light. A cat hissed and went leaping over the bags of feed and into the hay bales stacked up high.
I wish that cat would get a new home.
Knickers whinnied from your pocket.
But something smells really good in here.
Are you hungry, Knickers? You set him down in front of some lush, green alfalfa hay. Glancing around the place, you notice some interesting posters on the wall.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
Hey, Knickers, look! It's a recipe for some magic oat cookies. Maybe we should make some in case you need some again.
I can't wait, but oh, no. The magic ingredient has been ripped off the card.
He said, pointing at the card. Well, let's make some anyways. Maybe we'll find the magic ingredient later on. After mixing the cookies, you put some away in a little bag and put it in your pocket. Just as you turn to leave, you notice something sticking out from behind one of the posters. It was a secret map in the forest. It led to a colored circle in the middle of the map. What could this mean? It's piqued your curiosity. Maybe the stable hand knows about the forest trails.
Glad you made it back from the feed shed. This snow is getting to be too much.
The stable hand hollered.
Now help me get these horses inside where we can keep them out of it. Oh, and make sure everyone is safe in the stables and out in the pastures.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
You managed to get all of the horses inside and to keep them safe. Everyone was fed and watered, except one horse did not want to eat or drink. Instead, he hung his head and stood very still, not wanting to move.
He looks sick.
Knickers worried.
He sure does. Take him over to the health center and I will tend to the rest of the chores.
There's no time for questions now. You decide to rush the horse over to the health center and come back later. You took the sick gelding over to the health center.
Oh, the poor horse. He looks like his happiness level went down too far.
The veterinarian said as she surveyed the sick horse.
Let's doctor him up and get him happy again.
You stick around to help the sick horse.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
There, he should feel better by morning.
The vet replied with a brilliant smile.
You shouldn't have any more worries. So you're the new apprentice, huh? Glad to formally meet you. If you have any problems, just bring him back to me right away.
Okay, you tell her politely, glancing through the window, where you could see the forest. A strange glow was coming through the trees.
There's magic out there, you know.
She smiled. Maybe you could help me with the map I found, you said as you pulled out the folded paper. She said as she stared intently at it.
I think I've seen it before in the library. If you have a library card, you should check it out there.
Then she disappeared into the back room.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but I wanted to let you know a letter came for you today.
The butler announced.
I think it may be important.
You open the letter. March 1899. Apprentice. By the time this letter arrives, I will be gone. I have been summoned by the Queen to do an important quest. Do not let my departure stop your apprenticeship. Quite the contrary, you see. Your next quest has already begun. A worthy apprentice knows his hippology in and out. I expect no less of you. Trust no one. Do not leave your work unattended and guard it with your life. There are many out there who wish to take this information for themselves. They twist it until the truth is no longer there. This has caused a rift in the timeline and we must be careful about the future of the horse. There are not many out there who seek the good of the horse. Keep this ancient knowledge only for other like-minded souls. My dear friend, Podajski, said, we must live for the school. Offer our lives to it. Then, perhaps, little by little, the light will grow from the tiny candle we keep lit here, and the great art of the haute école will not be snuffed out. He couldn't have been more correct. And so I leave you with this quest. Prepare your own lecture on a topic of hippology and present it to the others. I trust you will challenge yourself. You must prepare the 1 to 3 minute presentation using different visual media, such as posters, diagrams, video, photos, models and other visual aids. Videotape your speech and either upload it to the internet or put it on CD/DVD and send it in for me to view and comment on. Choose from these topics to study and discuss. 1. Breed of horse that you have not studied before. 2. Discipline, riding discipline in great detail. 3. Arts and crafts, are you itching to get your hands on some art supplies? 4. Authored, for the young horse lover who is filled with stories of their own. 5. Musical, such as drill, pas de deux, etc. 6. Clinic or event, want to get out of the stall and explore the wonderful world of equestrian around you. 7. Driving, don't have your vehicle license? Learn to drive horse and cart instead. 8. Therapy, want to help others who are struggling to ride. 9. Tack, are you a crafty person who wants to try making some kind of tack? 10. Architecture, are you a building, aspiring to build something horse related? 11. Farrier, are you the kind who wants to care for horses from the hoof up? 12. Vet, or do you want to make sure all horses are happy and healthy? 13. Coach, are you desiring to teach others to ride? 14. Trainer, are you excited to get training horses to do something new? 15. Agility, an obstacle course for horses? 16. Equine mystery, you decide and surprise me. P.S. I am afraid there is no workbook for you and you are all on your own for this project. Put your thinking cap on and make me proud, young apprentice. Your information will be guarded in the Academy's vaults of knowledge in the library's secret wing. Lord Chancellor Spursmore. You slowly walk the horse back to the stables. Trudging through the snow was a lot of work, especially for a sick horse. Once inside the stables, you put the horse back in his stall. He started nibbling on some hay. The stable hand was nowhere to be seen. Peeking outside the stables, you see a light on in the lounge. Walking slowly up to the rider's lounge, you enter through the front door. The room was dimly lit, but nice and warm. There were several couches by a toasty fireplace. Knickers hopped to the ground and promptly shook himself off like a dog. You glance around the walls and notice several signs and an interesting letter on a small table by the door.
Who is there?
An elderly cowboy came around the corner.
Oh, you must be the new apprentice.
He noticed I had read the letter.
Oh, that. They always send those out. They want the professor to stop his experiments. But that will never happen. No, of course not. Without his inventions, we would not know what Knickers was saying.
He hobbled over to pet the little guy. What do you mean? You question.
Have a seat.
The old coach offered.
Stay and I will tell you about it.
The coach went on to describe how the professor was trying to create a machine to enlarge Knickers to the size of a regular horse. However, the machine enlarged Knickers' brain instead. Now the little horse could communicate and learn. The professor is still working on a machine so Knickers can find his family again.
We just don't have the heart to tell him.
The coach stopped talking abruptly.
What the heck was I talking about again?
You were about to tell him, when he slapped his knee and continued.
That's right. So you are the new apprentice, and I need to teach you a few things.
And the wise, old coach continued on.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
The coach talked all through the night. It was morning by the time he finished by saying,
There. Now you head on back to the stables and seek out the groom. She'll help show you how to groom your horse so you can get some riding in.
Knickers jumped into your pocket and you were so excited about being able to ride, you forgot to ask him about what he forgot he was really talking about. You head back to the stables where a very short lady was waiting, whistling as she was grooming a horse on the cross ties.
Ah, there you are. It's time to get this horse groomed. The trainer is waiting for you in the riding hall.
She busily danced around this way and that way, and it seemed like she didn't know what she was doing, but she did.
Let's first see if you know what to do.
Then she gave you the following instructions.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
The groom chattered on.
That's fantastic. Now, grab that grooming kit over there and let's get busy.
As you reach for the box, it toppled out of your hands and the contents went flying everywhere. The groom screamed as brushes and hoof picks flew past her head.
I can't believe that didn't hit my eye,
she said as she sat on the floor of the barn and rubbed her eye. I'm so sorry. Don't worry, I will clean it up. You promise as you immediately squat down to pick up all of the grooming supplies.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
You saw that the groom was too short to reach one of the grooming totes on a high shelf and offered her some help. Grabbing a stool, you climb up and reach it for her. She quickly walked away, still chattering incessantly about proper grooming. You turned to climb back down the stool, but noticed a dusty letter that was hidden under the tote. It said gatekeeper code and written on the back was,
Now, don't waste any more time. The trainer is a very busy person. Now, off you go to that big indoor arena over there.
She pointed to a grand building. You tuck the letter in your pocket and decide to look at it later. You lead the smart-looking mare over to the riding hall, which was an indoor riding arena. It was elegant in its design, with white walls, wood wainscoting, and large candelabra light. High on the walls were several paintings on every wall and the Academy logo at the end wall. Mirrors decorate the end wall as well. You could easily watch yourself ride.
What took you so long? You kids are all like nowadays. Never mind, next time you will have to work faster.
The trainer scolded as he approached.
Let's go through some things first.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, press the pause button again to continue.
When the trainer was done working with you and the horse, you asked if you could ride through the forest trails. He quickly replied,
Heck, no. You gotta learn to ride outside first. Head out to the outdoor arena and do your testing before you're allowed in the woods.
Glancing up at the paintings, you see that the paintings are labeled. For some reason, all of them say the same thing, the gatekeeper, but each had different codes beside them. What do all these paintings mean? You ask the trainer.
I don't know.
He replied.
Best to look them up in the library. That's all I know.
He disappeared out the door and was gone. Luckily, the weather was clear enough to head over to the outdoor arena. You decide to save the gatekeeper business for later, when you have time to look it up on the computer. The outdoor arena had a perfectly trimmed hedge around it and letters placed every so often. The riding instructor was standing in the middle, arms crossed, tapping his foot and looking at his watch. You best hurry in.
You don't look like you even know how to ride,
he announced. Trying to stand a little taller, you mount up in the saddle. But, I can ride, you say proudly.
Prove it.
Press the pause button, and when you are ready, Press the pause button again to continue.
After the quiz, the riding instructor looked at you and said,
That's pretty good,
he said.
but are you ready for what's out there?
He pointed to the forest.
There is so much more to learn. Classical horsemanship is the foundation of all riding disciplines. In order to progress with your horse, each horse and rider ride through different levels of progressive training using menage exercises, riding ring exercises. As the horse and rider go up the levels, the tests get harder. The horse and rider move together in harmony, balance and with grace and beauty. It is like horse ballet, but on horseback. The progressive training is called dressouts. It is done in an arena measured 20 by 40 or 60 meters with letters placed at specific points around the arena. If you wish to learn more, see the International Riding Academy's Dressouts Performance Programm für all unsere Informationen, Rules, Tack, Attire and Tips.
He continued on. Be sure to finish reading, finish your quiz sheet, the bonus quests and a presentation. Send it in to the Academy office for grading and your certificate. If you are riding in the Young Rider program, have your coach send in your video and a message about your completion in order to receive your certificate. Best of luck and keep riding. Oh, before I forget, I have sent a letter for you. Check with the butler for it. Read it and then continue on with Unit 13.